YouTube, this is Todd Martin, and I'm back with another C++ tutorial for you guys. Um, got a little bit of free time today, although today I spent most of my time watching a movie and just kind of chilling out because this is really the first good long while that I had off, or this amount of time off. Alright, so as you can see, I am going ahead and saving the file, and it's going to be variables.cpp. Alright. Should probably close it and reopen it. With dev notes. Alright. So let's go ahead and set up our very basic stuff that we need. Alright, so here we have our basic C++ program, and if you guys remember from the Hello World, we had that right there. Alright, so it's called variables, so we're going to talk about variables. So exactly what are variables, in case you guys are brand new to programming and don't exactly know. Variables is a way to store information. So we'll have something such as go and do this. So if you guys remember, or if you guys have done a algebra class, which most of you guys probably have, calculus and etc., probably remember from class that you know, y equals mx plus b stuff. If you have 2 plus x equals 2, then we should know from that, by subtracting 2 from both sides, that x equals, actually, just make more sense, I'm going to put 4, x equals 2. So whenever we substitute it, 2 plus 2 equals 4, because x equals 2. Alright, so it's basically just like that in a sense, except here we have our variable x, and it's going to store a value. So in this little sample here, x is going to equal 2. So here we go. Here we go. So just to kind of throw around some examples, we'll set x equal to 2. Now what if we want to print out x? Simply do that. Just run it through our compiler. My apologies, I'm used to Python programming. So we'll dive into that in 1 second. Now let's run it. And as you can see, it printed out the variable x, and the variable x equals 2. Alright, so whenever the compiler sees x, it knows that x equals 2. Alright, so right here with this int right here, let's talk about that. Alright, unlike Python, and this applies for Java, C, C++, a whole lot of programming languages, you have to declare the variable type. Alright, so as you can see, I put int. So int means it is an integer. We have some more. We have a boolean, which means it's going to be a true or false test, or 1 or 0 if you want to get technical. We have long, which is bigger than an integer. Double is bigger than an integer. We have float, which is a number that involves a decimal. So these are kind of the basic types whenever we're dealing with numbers. So just to kind of show an example of a float, so to declare, we specify the variable type first, then we name the variable. The variable name can be anything. So I'll show, or actually we'll make it my name. variable tide equals set equal to 3.14. We'll print it out. So you have quite a few, especially those that deal with numbers. An example of, we'll get into booleans a little bit later on. So save this and run it, so that way I can show. So as you see, it print out that. Now let's take integer y, set equal to 3.15. Let's try and print that out. Alright, as you can see, y is the very last thing to be printed, and y equals 3.15. And whenever we printed it, it didn't give us a decimal. That's because it's an integer, so the variable isn't supposed to have decimal, so it just chops the decimals off, which can be very important. So these are basic variable types. So once again, just to kind of go over it, we had different kinds of variables, and variables are used to store information. Now another thing I want to talk about is, if you notice, I said bigger than an integer and bigger than an integer for long and double. These are both numbers, or these are both variable types that take numbers. However, in C programming, and along with other different programming languages, it really depends on the compiler. The compiler is set to where, for certain variable types, it can only handle so much data. So depending on the compiler, I think like GCC, an integer cannot be larger than like 32,000 and something. So if the variable is over like 32,000, then you're going to get an error. So you would use like a double or a long. Probably in my videos coming up, I'm just going to use a double to stay on the safe side, more than likely. I may change it up, but it's nothing really to worry about, because if the number does get too big, then you can easily just go back and change it from an integer to a long to a double. So hope that kind of put the point out. Alright, very next thing I want to talk about in this video, and I'm going to space this out, do this, so that way you know that this is kind of going to go into a little bit different stuff. Alright, so what if we want to do strings? So strings are ways of storing words, phrases, letters. So let's do a string. However, to do a string, we need to include string. You can also use C-string if you want to. I'm just going to use string. So here's another library we're going to use, and this one will be handling strings. So let's set a string, hello. Let's set it equal to hello world. Now let's print it out. Let's run it. I screwed it right here by forgetting a semicolon. You will do that a lot. As you can see, it printed out hello world. So the variable hello equals hello world, print out hello, and then we're going to end the line there. So fairly simple. The other thing I'm going to talk about as far as like strings and stuff goes is going to be arrays, but I'm going to wait a little bit to talk about that. So yeah, because arrays get a little bit more complex, so don't worry about that quite yet. Still probably got a couple videos that I'm going to do before we jump into arrays. So this is how to work with variables, and that's pretty much it.